much. They would have to go through the city. I was actually there. I'm not sure if you remember, but the opening scene back in the days, the Attitude Area, where they recorded Shawn Michaels dancing on the tower, and they had a helicopter passing through the tower. I was actually there. I was actually part of the audience. And the city, they had to go through so much permit to go to the city to allow to do something like that. And for me not to hear anything about a helicopter doing that on Titan Tower, it's kind of hard to believe. That's the reason why I knew when I saw the picture, I said to myself, that's not real.
No, and and the thing about it is, I don't think you can just land a helicopter on top of any building that you want. You know what I mean? I think you got to have some sort of landing pad up there. You know what I'm saying, man? I don't think.
I have one. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah. So that's some good WWE.com Photoshop work from earlier this morning. We should actually put something on the website. Maybe when we go off the air tonight, I'll write up something and put that on the website in just a little bit. But yeah, we had that last night with the Trump storyline, and obviously they're going to try to continue this. Of course, some of these media outlets are just beyond dumb. You know what I mean? And take things like this serious. I mean, come on, guys. Vince McMahon, do people honestly think that Vince McMahon would sell Monday Night Raw? The people, I mean, there must be some weird or very uneducated fans that watch pro wrestling. You know what I mean? I don't know. They say Little Wayne 20 says they say wrestling is fake, Ryan. I know.
But the thing about it is, these are the same people that thought Vince McMahon blew up in a limo.
Yeah, right, and died in the limo, you know. And there was one, did you remember when that happened? And there was the one media outlet that took it completely serious and said that they'd hope to have an update on his condition, this and that, this. I mean, it was crazy. And I don't know. I guess if they can fool people, then so be it. I guess it works. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I find it hard to believe that people believe that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Vince McMahon sells Raw. Come on, guys. You know?
If you think about it, it's almost like, Coke selling Diet Coke. And that's it. Just one. I mean, reality is, if Vince is going to sell anything, he's going to sell the entire company. So, of course, nothing but storyline driven all over it.
Oh, of course. So then, I mean, like we said, we'll get a new general manager out of this, whether it happens next week. You know, to add fuel to the fire with the Ric Flair thing last night is that they were in Charlotte last night. You know what I mean? Hometown of obviously Ric Flair. They had David Flair was ringside. Did you see him last night during the early part of Raw for the first few matches? Then I think he disappeared. I didn't see him for the entire show, but he was definitely in the front row there for the first few matches. So that added fuel to the fire. You know what I mean? Thinking maybe Rick will come in, and I think at some point, I mean, the guy just signed either signed or is about to sign a new deal with WWE, which is going to be non-wrestling. You know what I mean? Which is going to put him in some sort of backstage role, in a general manager role. Now that it's freed up, I think it's where they're going to. I think they're going to go that route. We'll just have to wait and see. Maybe they want to keep Rick off TV here for a few more weeks. By the way, that Ric Flair promo in New York City, he put that company over pretty big in the promo there, and that was awesome, man. There were times where Rick would be out there in the ring in New York City and would put over ROH, and then he'd point to a couple hot girls that were in the audience and say stuff like, "I see you, baby. You want to come home with me?" or something like that. You know what I mean? And he did that a few times. It's got a huge pop from the Hammerstein Ballroom crowd. So that was cool to see. But it'd be good to see Ric Flair back. I think a general manager role for him works well. You know.
Well, I think the way that McMahon is riding the show now, and I think looking at the ratings in the last few weeks, seeing a slight decline, and not only that, but a decline in pay-per-views, and now, of course, steaming out these pay-per-views with Breaking Point, and, of course, Night of Champions, those steam pay-per-views. You see now the WWE is going into a phase where they now brought in Donald Trump, not only to bring that media attention, but to create some buzz, just like last night what Donald Trump said. I'm going to put new creative ideas out there. I mean, it's funny because it's a new idea, but the bottom line is it's the same creative team. So on TV, it may sound like, oh, wow, this is great, especially if you're like a mark for the industry, and you're saying to yourself, wow, this is unbelievable. Donald Trump is the new owner of Raw. We're going to see a lot of new things. Reality is you may see a little bit more edgier in the terms of storyline development, but you ain't going to see much of a difference.
Well, the funny thing about it is they bring in Donald Trump, right, and then they give away like a huge pay-per-view match next week, right? We've got Triple H versus Randy Orton in a last man standing match, and then we've got a commercial-free Raw next week, right? So the first thing that came to my mind was, wow, Donald Trump must, not really give a damn about pay-per-view buy rates, number one, to give a title match away next week on Raw, let alone a last man standing match on next week's Raw, you know what I mean? And they must not really care about the advertising either. You know what I mean? Screw the advertisers. Whatever.
Well, the advertisement is done by USA Network, so in reality, yeah, you know that. Vince doesn't even see that advertisement dollar. The biggest is the reason why USA and WWE are doing this together is the simple fact that it's a ratings game, and with the way the ratings are going now, the best solution is to perform a 2-hour live event, a pay-per-view style of event. Throw a pay-per-view match in there. You're going to see a rematch. There's no doubt about it. You're going to see a rematch between Triple H and Randy Orton at the Bash.
Yeah, we actually we put that on the websites here just a little while ago. They're going to go. That may be a gimmick match as well on the pay-per-view. I mean, if they're going to do a gimmick match at Monday Night Raw with a last man standing match, I think they need to do something other than just a regular one-on-one contest at the Bash, because after next week, I believe the Bash is 1 week away, right?
Yeah, it's a week from Sunday. You got the TNA pay-per-view, and then you have the Bash.
Yeah, so we've only got 1 week after next week, and we only, as of right now, we've only got 2 matches, those being CM Punk versus Jeff Hardy for the world title, and Carlito and Primo versus the Legacy for the unified tag team titles. And, of course, 3 matches. We've got, I don't believe they didn't announce that. It was kind of confusing last night to end Raw, because they didn't really clarify what they were going to do, but it looks like Triple H versus Randy Orton at that pay-per-view as well. And then we've got the SmackDown and ECW tapings tonight, where I'm sure we'll have a few more matches. This, my friend, will likely be your throwaway pay-per-view, if you know what I'm saying. And I've said that the last few pay-per-views, but this one, maybe not. The thing I hate about it is if you're gonna do Randy Orton versus Triple H in a last man standing match next week, I would say Orton keeps the title there, and then you go on to the pay-per-view, and what? Does Triple H win it there? I mean, I think enough with the constant title switch. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it seems like on a week-to-week basis or a month-to-month basis of these pay-per-views, the title changes hands. I think it needs to be kept on one champion, build that champion up, and then go from there. You know what I mean?
I mean, what they're simply doing is they're switching titles a lot faster than it was before.
I don't think they want to continue that trend. I think
I hope they not, because they're just it kind of takes away from the title.
Well, injuries have thrown, but they knew Batista. I mean, they knew Batista. What is that noise? What do you got? What are you at the baseball field?
No, I'm actually at an ATM.
Oh, is that what that is?
I am on tour on the show. Gotta love it. 2 towns over.
ATM. It doesn't top my Wendy's, but I'll give it to you. ATM. Yeah, but I don't know. They knew about Batista's injury, going into the last pay-per-view. And then they still had him win the title at that pay-per-view, and then just took it off him basically the next night with an injury angle. And now you've got 2 back-to-back same matches, Triple H versus Randy Orton. We get one on free TV, and then we get another one the following week on pay-per-view. You know what I mean? So hopefully, my hope is that they keep that title on Randy Orton. You know what I mean? And let him run with it. But you've got Triple H in there. You know what I mean? And